AW. AfricaLink.
Hello there, and greetings from Bonn, Germany, the heart of Europe. We are deeply grateful, humbled, and honored that you have chosen AfricaLink as the source of unbiased, objective, balanced, and constructive stories, and of course, magazines we continue producing. With our years of experience, we are unwavering in our commitment to bring you even more in the years to come. And today, I'm so excited to introduce to you some special guests who are part of the dedicated team behind AfricaLink's production. They are also a testament to our ongoing commitment to you, our audience. And we launched today our baby product that you've been listening for some days, but today we officially launched it out there with wonderful hosts, as you might see on the banner there, and also with so much that we are going to offer to you in this special podcast that we are launching today. Why am I saying this? You also have your voice. Some of you have been writing to us what you expect or what you want us to do. And why not? At your service, we shall do that without hesitation. Yes, we shall do it. And that's why we're here. I'm glad to introduce to you Asumpta Lattus. She is the team leader. And she will tell you so much that you've been wanting to know why we choose some topics, why we do them. And she does that, of course, with the team. Josey Mahachi, she is one of our dedicated hosts, together with Eddie Micah Jr., who's not here, but Josey is here representing him and also the rest of the team. And also, last but not least, my namesake in Accra, Kaledzi, multimedia journalist. Oh, she has so many titles, and she's one of the most incredible and reliable correspondents that we have at AfricaLink for many, many years. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Isaac.
Yes, and of course, myself, Isaac Mugabe, I'll be your host and producer for this special podcast. So, I will start with you, Asumpta. A little later, we'll come to Josey and then Isaac Kaledzi. And also, I have some comments that I will be reading here from our users on Facebook, what they want us to do or what they're looking forward to. First of all, briefly walk the listener or someone watching us on YouTube right now, the transition from the show we had before AfricaLink and the podcasts, and maybe the reasons behind it.
Thank you very much, Isaac Mugabe. I have to say both names because we have two Isaacs in here. For this invitation, first of all, and for this opportunity to speak directly to our users, to our listeners, ardent listeners who have been following us for years. As you all know, we started AfricaLink 13 years ago. I remember this because my own son was born on that year, 2011. So this is my second son, I would say. And it was incredible the way we started. We started just like any other radio station, building reports, getting reports from our correspondents. And we, over the years, we changed and we put that show online on a Facebook Live and integrated most voices and conversation from you and questions while we are on air. As time goes, we know that we have to go with time because the way our consumer, our listener, consuming radio and media products are changing as well. So, and we had this urge to listen to you and to see exactly what we can do. And it was at the beginning of last year when our distribution department at DW told us and said, listen, our partners, they have been saying about things about the show AfricaLink. They love everything that you do, but there's one thing. Everything that you do is actually what our local, the different local outlets and local media houses are doing. So can you do something different? Can you do something that probably is not cannot be found in local media outlets? And this is the time that we sit down together as a team and to think, what can we do? And we came up with this idea of having a monothematic show. As you remember, we started that monothematic last year, 2013. Only once a week we were doing that, just to test the waters, how deep they are, and how we can make it work, and also how do you like it. Apparently, this is what most of you, the users, is what you want. I mean, you want to have an in-depth, analytic, backgroundy pieces, instead of just having small pieces that actually you can get from the local media houses. And this is how this is how we came from. And most importantly, I have to say, is that at DW we are also changing our faces and saying, I mean, hey, we have to go on demand, because only being on radio, it won't help us, because our users are now all over the places. People are listening to audio content from different channels, be it on YouTube, for example, social media channels, Facebook, but also they are on podcast platforms. So, and this is where we want to get everyone who want to listen to our content in different platforms and different channels as well.
Now, Josey, let me come to you. Why do you think our viewers right now, following us on YouTube or even listening to us on our different platforms, they should come and watch you, host that podcast?
Thanks a lot, Isaac. So, it's so difficult to speak after the boss has spoken. You should have done it the other way around.
Assume that she's not.
I was just wondering why he's asking to me this question. Actually, you are the person to speak about it more. More.
I decided that way before the boss, says I'm going for another meeting.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, but she has really touched on a lot of things, Isaac. Yeah. Personally, speaking from my own experience, this has been one of the greatest challenges that I've been granted, making sure that you drive a discussion, a three-way discussion where you are asking all the questions, and you need to know that you get all the answers and at the end solutions to whatever topic that you're trying to cover. It's different from the former AfricaLink, where we had different packages, but now this is delving deeper into a topic. And also, AfricaLink podcast being a platform for diverse, authentic voices from the continent. It's really been offering a deep dive into the stories also that are shaping the continent today. The fact that we also, bring together experts, leaders. I mean, we've even had presidents on AfricaLink podcast, and also our correspondents to provide insights you might not, and I'll say this confidently, won't find elsewhere. It's also not just news, it's context, analysis. And one thing that I also know, especially from you as our producer, is bringing in the human stories. You always love those human stories, behind the headlines.
Thank you for that, experience that you're sharing, and that's why, as a preamble, I began with Asumpta, to tell us, and then it's good that you are delving into much of what's expected of you and what you're doing, personally, as a producer, sometimes you produce and then the host like you shoot the hard questions to the guests. And sometimes they have a tendency of not diverging so much, Yeah. I always follow the challenge that you go through when someone is not giving out information. Now, what are you looking forward to the guests you'll be having, especially when they don't want to delve so much into what you want them to tell us the story. So, any tricks that you want?
Usually with the experts that we have and the analysts that we have, they don't withhold. It's only the politicians that you find they often withhold information, Isaac. And gaining access to that information can be difficult, but we always handle this by focusing on asking clear, specific questions that at times there is no runaway route. They can't run away from answering that. And we also ensure that, we're informed on the topic. You see, we have a big team from the the person we call the AL who does the research, find the guests, to the producer, then to us, the hosts, is where we have a role to play. You just don't come there and start asking questions. You have to research on your guest. You have to also research on the topic. So we navigate around getting all these answers. And at the same time, we also balance by speaking to analysts, like I said, our correspondents on ground. I'm glad today we have Isaac Kaledzi here, who's also representing all our correspondents. I mean, we get a lot of insight from them as well. Even before we speak to some of our guests, we have to go to our correspondents. Oh, I'm speaking to this person. What do you think should be the angle, And also even citizens, we have Vox Pops, remember? We have citizens also from African countries to provide a fuller picture of the issue at hand. So for us at AfricaLink, it's about creating a dialogue that goes beyond just the politicians, the analysts' narrative.
Exactly, because with my experience coming to 25 years in the media, politicians never say sometimes what they mean and never mean what they say. Kaledzi, I'm coming to you on Wednesday. There's a story that we kept on discussing even in our chat group about the anti-LGBTQ bill law. And in the wires, they started off saying law, and then yet it's still a bill, and then they came correcting themselves. And this is why I went, I brought as an example, because it was on Wednesday, to you as our correspondent. I mean, share with our viewers and listeners, the importance of, getting the facts clear and balancing the story so that Josey, the host, or me, the producer, we don't feed, our audience with, call it fake news or even unresearched work. Over to you, Kaledzi.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because for all of us who work on the ground as journalists, we are excited when our stories are being properly given the platform that they need. And most importantly, to even get opportunity to put them into context, into perspective, because usually sometimes news reporting could be a bit of a rush. And so the context and all the details that will help the listener better appreciate the whole complete story sometimes can be missing. And so that's what the podcast provides. It provides an opportunity for us to come onto the show to give the backstory. Because obviously, the way media has evolved, I mean, the news breaks on social media, it's all over the place. So as traditional media outlets, we cannot say we are breaking the story, but what our listeners will appreciate is the authenticity, the facts, and some other kinds of things they can learn and knowledge they can pick from what has happened. And once we get an opportunity, we are able to bring to bear the facts, the details that will make the story complete. And that's what I love about the new format of the podcast, that it gives us that opportunity as storytellers to be there to explain, to give clarifications and details, and also to give people insight into how we cover the stories and what we encountered and how we hope that things will evolve. Because again, like I always say, we are part of the society. And so obviously, if the roads are bad, we also use the same road. If people's rights have been abused, obviously we can form victims. So we can also bring that perspective to bear in the conversation. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Kaledzi. Actually, let me first come back to Asumpta, because this is a quick one, which I want to to make as a rejoinder to what you just mentioned, the need for balancing and also getting facts clear. So, Asumpta, how important is this podcast to local, regional, continental level? Before I come to Kaledzi, also to highlight a little bit how important it is to Ghana.
There are a few things that I think people have to understand. I mean, the way we're doing this podcast and the way we're putting out there, it's quite important to understand that we are not getting stories from here. The stories are coming from the ground. Our correspondence is the lead of every story that we're producing, and that means it is coming from the backyard, and it is also explained by the correspondent how it is and how the things are happening on the ground, and it's always relevant, not only, let's say, if the story is coming from Ghana and Isaac Kaledzi is the one pitching it and explaining it, it is, we say this at the beginning, that it is relatable also to another country, to another continent as well. It's, I mean, when you say that how important this is, I should really say that I have to mention, I mean, I've been thinking about that in the sense that their media or their countries, let's say, there are countries which are clamping down media industry, and some correspondents are not even allowed to speak about, not correspondent, I say, I mean, in that case, local media, they're not allowed to speak about on certain topics. And thanks to these correspondents who are telling us what's going on, then we can freely speak about the topics that, and not only speak about them, but analyze and criticize and explain the whole, I mean, what's going on. I mean, I'll give you an example here of the Zambia story, the Zambian story that we had on a podcast.
Yes, the one Lungu being bad.
The Lungu being, yes, exactly. The way we discuss and cover that story is not the way probably a local media house would cover. We have that liberty, we have that capacity, you know, like, not because of being because of the political, you know, like challenges that the country is facing, being it social challenges that the country is facing, or economical challenges that the media houses are facing. We are able to analyze, to dissect the topic that probably a local media house cannot you know, analyze. And that's why I think this podcast is very, very important. And what is also important is that people